edition of Car and Driver.
It had been something of a tradition, the annual toy box test. The last time John Moss opened the doors to his special vehicles garage was 3 years ago. But we're doing it again as a Car and Driver special with the biggest collection of one-off concepts yet. And now, it's time to drive. Start with the small stuff, the lineup of front drivers for Generation Y, for the fast and furious fun that's taken over the streets and the strip, as GM develops the parts to play with the imports.
We've got to get in that game, and we're getting in it. Both Cavalier and Sunfire and Saturn have got performance options that are coming. And frankly, we're behind the curve. I mean, Civic is owning a lot of that business, and we don't want them to take it all. So we're going to come back strong. You're going to see some high horsepower. We're into the drag business with the Cavalier particularly, but you're going to see some things that you can buy, get out on the street and run fast in these front drivers.
And with some 3 million Cavaliers and Sunfires already sold, there are plenty of candidates for performance upgrades, say with a blower.
This is a 260 horse LD9, which has been the mainstay engine for quite a number of years with Cavalier and J cars. 260 horse, intercooled to supercharged is quite a very unique package to drive.
You'll certainly surprise some Honda owners is the idea there, right?
Well, I think we're going to give them something to talk about. Let's put it that way.
The Cavalier Technic now runs to 60 in less than 7 seconds. Or how about the blue-flamed four-door Cavalier? No supercharger, just a little head and exhaust work to pick up another 50 horses.
It's not supercharged. It's not, not anything really trick. So when you look at it from a customer standpoint, with, especially the customer we're talking about with a few bucks, he can do this thing very, very economically and have one ball of a car to drive.
Then there's the Sunfire ideas and the Piranha that's now running a blown version of GM's new World engine, the L850 4-cylinder.
Unlike the Technic, which had the LD9 in it, this is only running 230 horse, but it's supercharged without an intercooler, and that's a lot of horsepower from a little tiny motor.
And a lot more performance fun now from a Sunfire. Then there's Buick experimenting with a performance future based on the high performance of the past. The awesome GNX from the 80s and the GSX from the late 60s with the biggest of the big blocks. Now meet the new Regal GNX.
Modern version. We wanted to certainly celebrate our style and heritage and performance with this vehicle. Obviously some of the styling cues you see immediately on the hood, raised hood with the portholes, celebrating some of Buick's history. The portholes are functional. That works with our airbox, with our intercooler, which is also supercharged, about 300 horsepower.
And with the wing and triple exhaust ports out back, the GNX concept is not a Buick for retirees. But will GM build it? Probably not. But this car stands a real chance of turning up at your Pontiac dealer in a few years. The Grand Prix G8 with an LS1 dropped in, breathing through the Ram Air hood and making 350 horses for the all-wheel drive.
The development that we went through with the Pontiac brand teams of adapting the LS1 V8 with the new VersaTrack all-wheel drive system, and to make this thing really a strong runner, and it's something quite doable.
With the V8 transplant, this Grand Prix runs to 60 in less than 7 seconds, and through the quarter in 13.9 with no wheel spin, no drama, you're just gone. But if you want drama before you're gone, or while you're going, then it's the Gold Trans Am with 2 kinds of power.
This is called the Rytec Super Tuner 550. This car's claim to fame is it makes 550 horsepower and also produces 550 watts of audio power. So I guess it'll blow your mind 2 ways.
So with a blown and intercooled LS1 and Rytec's thumper audio, you've got entertainment for your 13-second quarter mile in case you get bored on the way down the track. Now, one more F-body, the Camaro SS with the 400 horsepower label on the scoop. This is the ultimate SS that could have been, but never was, with the LS6 Corvette high-performance small block under the hood, and with Corvette calipers and cross-drilled rotors behind the Z06 wheels. It is an extraordinary ride, smoking through the quarter in less than 13 seconds at 110 miles per hour. Way too close to the performance of the Z06 Corvette to turn this loose in the market. But that's why Special Vehicles builds these cars.
It's kind of our brand manager's sandbox, so we can try some things outside of the production process, go fast, take a look at them, see the hardware, drive it, and maybe move it to production if everything looks right.
Coming next, it's trucks with a drop-in transplant for your S10 and the latest concept for the Silverado SS.
Now the trucks, and there's no shortage of special vehicles in that category, from ground-shaking big blocks to this awesome piece, experimenting with the styling and performance of the Silverado with the newest SS. Start with this one, 2.5 tons of Caddy. That in the production version is already the most powerful sport ute on the road. But what if there were more horses spun up by a pair of turbos?
We're running 580 horsepower in this thing and 580 foot-pounds of torque. In fact, to be honest with you, we had to detune it to get it down to those limits. So this is a very, very unique package. You need to drive this thing to really understand what a vehicle of this weight and how nimble it is going to be with this kind of horsepower.
And how quick. 0 to 60 drops nearly 3 seconds to 7 seconds flat, and with no wheel spin thanks to all-wheel drive. Now, here's another experiment that's not quick, but it is quicker than stock. The H2 Hummer with the new GM Big Block dropped in. 8.1 liters, doing a better job of hustling the world's toughest off-roader on the track. Now, a styling exercise that could become a Tahoe trim option in a partnership with the North Face Outfitters. Beefy step bars and grill guard with winch on the outside. Oh, and helpful lights in the roof rack for loading camping gear at night. And inside, a touch of Outfitter stitching for the seats to get you in the mood for rock climbing or whatever. And speaking of rock climbing, how about the short wheelbase K5 that solves the problem preventing production of a two-door Tahoe? How to get people into the back seat because the front seats don't fold anymore. The answer was double-acting hinges.
The team did a great job of coming up finding hinges. In fact, all these latches you see here, the hinges are right off the shelf. And the only thing that's really quite new is the door, new door shape and a new ring, and it's a four-door, two-door.
And with the access problem solved, there is now interest in producing it. Now a flashback to an earlier Toys test and the Cool Side 1 all-wheel drive big block experiment that can still smoke all 4 tires. But now there's a Cool Side 2 using the 8.1 liter production big block, looking for the capabilities of the new engine.
Well, we got this one up to 580 horsepower and 605 pound-feet of torque, but the Link is trying to get the all-wheel drive to the ground, so we had to hand build a transfer case and use the beefed-up 4L80 transmission. So it worked out pretty good.
And then there's the experiment with push-button shifting for the Auto Trans. But just pick drive and you're running to 60 in 5.5 seconds and finishing the quarter in the mid-12s at 108 miles per hour. Amazing what all that torque will do for you. But maybe you've got a smaller truck performance interest. In the past, that's meant a blower or a V8 conversion for the S10, which is no easy project. But coming shortly is a new crate engine, the ZZ 4.3 V6.
And as you can see, it's the same configuration of the existing 4.3, so it drops right in. There's no real modification to it. And that was the intention of the program, is make it look good, make it perform good, and make it drop in.
On regular gas, the ZZ 4.3 makes 260 horses with 277 pound-feet of torque. And with headers and a 3-inch exhaust, 290 horses is right there for the asking to power up either the Blazer Extreme or the S10 Extreme to match the hot look with hot tire smoke. Now the pickup that is absolutely stunning. The SS Extended Cab Concept, first shown a year ago as a styling experiment for the Silverado. It is monochrome gorgeous from the brake cooling ducts in front to the matching exhaust ports in back, with the bed molded into the cab but still functional under the hard tonneau and behind the tailgate with the reversed release. Inside, it's sport truck seats for 4 with a Corvette 6-speed stick for the driver to choose the gears behind the 6.6-liter LS1 V8, making 475 horses. The suspension is from the C5 Corvette front and rear with adjustable air springs. It's not going into production, but John says it's pretty close.
What we're going to be doing here is, we can't divulge all of our secrets, but yes, stay tuned, because down the road you could just see a very, very, very close derivative of this product.
We can certainly hope so after spending some time with the ultimate Silverado, the one-off SS.
Next up, it's sport cars. That means Corvette for the track and what could be the future on the streets.
Now it's sports cars, and at GM that means Corvette. And that means performance on the street and on the track. And there's no shortage of ideas in that area to keep the crossed flags at the head of the pack. We are not exactly deprived of performance these days, with the 2002 Z06 capable of jumping out to 60 in 4 seconds flat, and handling better on the track than any Corvette that's come before. Doug Goad of Wheel to Wheel is out proving that most every weekend with the production-based C5 competing against Porsches and Vipers in the Grand Am Rolex Series with co-driver Craig Connolly.
Craig is actually the owner of the car. The team ownership is Fliss Motorsports, as you can see by their website, and the engines are supplied out of Wheel to Wheel, which is the company I'm involved with.
Those engines are massaged LS1s producing 500 horsepower and producing wins in the series. Doug's about to run out of room for first place stickers on the nose.
This car happens to be doing extremely well right now. Out of 7 races, we have 5 wins.
And so is this car, a C5 brought to the Toys Test by Corsa Performance to give John a chance to try out their new titanium aftermarket system that not only sounds good, it also cuts back pressure by 85% over the stock system, and that means more horsepower.
Of course, you got to have enough air in to use the air out, so a combination of both with the right induction system along with this new titanium Corsa system should increase, I would say, a good 15% as far as horsepower rating. That's usually what we see when we get that kind of back pressure reduction.
And that's part of the formula for this Corvette, showing some new styling treatments front and rear. And with 450 horses from the bored-out LS1 V8, 0 to 60 now arrives quicker. And then there's this one, the C5 Tiger Shark, in the tradition of the Mako Shark from the 60s, with the same size engine, 427 cubes now in the heavily modified LS1. But the Tiger Shark is blown to make 742 horsepower, 690 pound-feet of torque. Viper-killing power, with the killer good looks of new styling from nose to tail. And with a fully enhanced suspension with adjustable coilover shocks and Brembo brakes on all corners. It is an experiment in what the Corvette could become, and Chevy General Manager Kurt Ritter is impressed.
I think the look of it is exciting, and obviously the power is very, very overwhelmingly exciting once you're out there on the track. You could tell coming back it's set up for a road course in terms of its suspension, so it handles exceptionally well. I think it's an expression of what maybe the future can hold for Corvette in terms of capability. It is America's performance icon. That's what we live and die with, and that's why we're here doing products like this.
Still to come, the Chevrolet exhibition cars, Camaros with big slicks, and one with a straight-through exhaust.
There's one more category in the special vehicles toy box, the image cars that don't have a thing to tell us about future products. These are the cars that carry the bow tie out to amaze and entertain. There is no suggestion anything in this category is going to turn up in any kind of production planning for GM. If it's wearing Mickey Thompson slicks in the tubs, it's an exhibition car from Special Vehicles.
The other side is, let's just do some fun toys that really set a brand position, but we know we're never going to bring them to production. I mean, we've seen some 700 horsepower things out here that obviously we're not going to bring for production, but it does get your blood boiling.
John Middlebrook had just warmed his blood in a ride down the strip with Pro Stock driver Kurt Urban. Now it's my turn to try the G-forces in an e-ticket ride Disney hasn't matched yet. And just 9 seconds start to finish. Oh boy, that's exciting.
The really purpose of these cars is really is an exciter. They're great for the brand. They're great for for Chevrolet. It really does a great job as far as when we take them on exhibition runs to various events at drag strips. They get the crowd to their feet, and yeah, Chevrolet. So it's really a good deal for that in that respect.
And of the two Camaros, the black ZL1 is the most famous, having been here to Milan Dragway 2 years ago in the grudge match with John Coletti of Ford Special Vehicle Engineering. Since then, the 572 cubic inch big block is still making 770 horses and nearly 700 pound-feet of torque.
I keep kidding Coletti. I said, we're still ready to go. Ours is still running, but yours is broke, and when are you going to fix it?
And now the ZL1 is set up more for drag racing, tubbed to take bigger slicks, and running 935 in the quarter at 148 miles per hour. Quite a ride in a door slammer. And the yellow small block is close behind, running consistent 960 times at 143 miles per hour, while helping develop the performance and the reliability of the same 427 small block running in the racing C5R Corvette.
What we've developed here is not only the intake manifold in a simpler form to develop this maximum amount of horsepower, over 730 horsepower, in fact. We're finding out just exactly how far can we take this motor, and then if we have to back it down somewhat for the race car application, because they run the endurance thing, we'll know exactly what the strong points and the weak points are.
Now the Camaro with the ultimate in free-flow exhaust tubes. This is the Camaro exhibition car from Roger Gustin Racing that Jerry Gannon has been piloting for the past 9 years. And pilot is the right name for Jerry's job, running 22 gallons of diesel fuel through the afterburner every quarter mile.
Well, that's lighting the burner and going with it. It pulls about 4.5 G. You're talking 6,000 horsepower. It pulls you the entire quarter mile. It's not a lets off half track or whatever. It's a constant pull on you.
And then you hit the chutes and you hope it's
hit the chute and you hope it works.
Of course, with just 5.5 seconds to the end of his show, Jerry first gets everybody covering their ears with the traditional burner pops. And only then is it time to stage to blow his tube chassis funny car Camaro with the straight-through plumbing down the track. And while Jerry Gannon is clearly the ultimate act in showing the bow tie for the fans, it's the products coming through from GM Special Vehicles that makes the toys test really exciting. With a good chance, a good many of these one-off concepts are telling us about the future. So what do you think? 290 horses and a crate engine for an S10 Blazer? Yeah, that'll get it. Hey, for all of us, I'm Jim Scouten. We'll see you next time.
For more information on today's stories, log on to caranddriver.com. The Enthusiast Automotive